Excellent. So the recording has started as well. And let me just give you a quick 2-minute background of what I do and a 2-minute background of what Power BI is. And then we can start with the first of these 3 days of training. And today we are going to focus on how Power BI can help you make better charts. So compared to Excel, where you have a very limited set of charts that you can create, I want to show you how much more impressive charts can be created with lesser effort on Power BI. But before we do that, it's important for you to know what I do and what sort of projects I work on. So I'll just take 2 minutes doing this. All right. So just one more time, if all of you can confirm if the screen is visible. Can you see my profile? The reason I'm asking is because I'm working on multiple monitors here and I'm a little unsure if I've connected the right one. Excellent. Thanks, everyone. So I run an analytics firm called Havish M Consulting. And basically, I have been working on analytics for many, many years now. My work is across multiple sectors and different functional areas. So I do a lot of work in finance. I work a lot with HR teams. Interestingly, my work with marketing and sales is much more limited. I have been working on Excel for 20 years now. I've been working on Power BI for 3 years. I have authored 18 books on Microsoft Office and Analytics. And I have had the opportunity of training and consulting companies like Amazon, Flipkart, Uber. I also work as a consultant for Vedanta, with whom I do a lot of work. So that's my background. I obviously work as a corporate trainer and consultant. I was a 40 under 40 last year in analytics. And of course, I'm a Microsoft certified Office master, a data analyst associate, a Microsoft certified trainer as well. Now, my expertise is in Excel, which is everything in Excel. So Excel charts, formulas, financial modeling, business modeling, Visual Basic, programming. And as an extension of that, I also work on something called Power Query and Power Pivot, which I will not be talking about today. I'll be talking about it tomorrow and day after. And I hope you all will be able to come for the next 2 sessions as well. Today's session is jumping straight into it and really understanding how to work with Power BI and how to quickly, within 5 minutes, start making beautiful dashboards. All right. So that's my background. I'll just give you a quick 2-minute background of what Power BI is as well. I'm sure that even if you guys haven't used it, all of you would have seen it or at least heard of it. So there is a report that comes every year, which is called the Gartner Magic Quadrant. And if you notice, this is basically a lot of all the different BI tools in the market. And the page is still loading, so it's not very clear. Let me see if I can open this one. Just a second. Okay. All right. So I hope this is clear, everyone. So if you notice in 2020, Power BI is very clearly the #1 in the market. We have Tableau at #2. Then we have Qlik and ThoughtSpot at #3 and #4. And then, of course, there are lots of other players in the market as well. We have SAS, we have Oracle BI, we have SAP, we have Salesforce, we have Google, right? We have IBM Cognos. But Power BI and Tableau are so far ahead of everybody else that between both of them, they have a little more than 70% market share. Like, we don't know the exact number, but it is expected that they have more than 70% market share combined. So one thing is very clear, that Power BI is the future. After 5 years, will Power BI overtake Tableau? Nobody knows. It might happen, it might not happen. But definitely the pace at which Power BI is increasing in terms of its adoption rate is marvelous, right? Tableau has been around since 2003. Power BI just completed 5 years. It was launched in 2015. And in 5 years, it has made an amazing entry in the BI landscape. There are lots of reasons for it as to why is Power BI growing so rapidly. I'll just give you the short version. One, of course, is a cost factor. Tableau is 7 times costlier than Power BI as a thumb rule. Power BI is a Microsoft tool, so it's much simpler to work with. It's much easier to work with. Because Power BI is a Microsoft tool, it is also very nicely integrated with Excel, SharePoint, Outlook, SQL Server. Even though Tableau can do these things as well, obviously a Microsoft product would work seamlessly. And another big reason is that Power BI is free of cost. So if you are just starting out and you don't really want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to get a license. You can simply go and search for Power BI Desktop, and Power BI Desktop is available 100% free of cost. You also have Tableau Desktop, but Tableau Desktop will cost you 60,000 rupees per year, $840. As a student, you can get I think a 1 year or a 2 year license to Tableau. But if you're in the corporate and when you start working, you will have to pay out money for Tableau. For example, if you notice, I work on Tableau 2020, which is the latest version, and I have paid money from my own pocket to work on Tableau. I do have a paid account of Power BI as well, but everything that I'll be showing you today has nothing to do with the paid version. Everything you can do on the free version as well. Okay, now let's jump straight into it. Now that you know my background and you have a little bit of idea about Power BI, we're going to work with the data set. This is called the Superstore data. Right? And I am just going to open this for you. And I want all of you to just look at this data set and get comfortable with it, because we're going to spend the next 45 minutes working on this. It has about 10,000 records. We have 21 columns. And what is the data that we have? It's very straightforward. We have order ID, order date, shipping mode, customer name and ID. We have the segment, the country, city, state, postal code, and region. We have the product details. So the product ID, category, subcategory, and the product name. And finally, sales quantity, discount, and profit. All right. Now, anything that I have to do on Power BI, I can connect it to any different data set. For now, I'm going to connect to an Excel file, but do remember that the data need not be in an Excel file. It could have been in a database, it could have been a CSV file, it could have been directly coming from the internet, right? How do we do an analysis on Excel? We make a pivot table, correct? I'm sure all of you would have had the opportunity of working on pivot tables earlier. And that's what we do. So we select the data, we make a pivot table, and then whatever we need to find out, we can do that. It's not very difficult, but it's a very manual approach. And that's what we can eliminate when we work on Power BI. So I'll just make one quick example. I'll put my sales amount in value. I will put my region in rows. And let's say I'll put my customer name in also rows, correct? And if I put my region in filters, what will happen? Now I can look at, let's say, only one region, which is central. And if I want to see the top 10 customers, I can go to value filter, go to top 10, and I can select top 10 customer names by sales amount. And you would notice that it tells you that these are the top 10 customers in the region of central. Same thing. If you want to look at a specific business segment, for example, if you want to look at business segment and you only want to look at consumer, you can say that these are the top 10 customers for the consumer segment in the central region. Now, the same data set I'm going to load on Power BI to show you how much simpler it would become. So I'm opening Power BI. Do remember Power BI is only available for Windows. It is not available for the Mac, all right? Because it's a Microsoft tool. All right. So we have Power BI here. Just hold on a minute, everyone. All right. So this is the interface. There are certain similarities that it has to Excel and PowerPoint, but it's a new tool. That means that do not consider this to be a replacement for Excel or a better version of Excel. It is a completely standalone tool. While there might be some similarities, most of the things would be different, all right? So what all do we have here? At the top, we have a ribbon, we have some visualizations, we have filters, and we have feed. Let's simply connect to an Excel file. So we click on Excel, and we will connect to the same data set that I showed you earlier, which is my Superstore data. Now this part is very similar to making a pivot table. If you notice, I get a list of all the columns here on the right side. The question is, what is the difference? I mean, this is what we could have done on a pivot table as well, right? But watch this. What I'm going to do now is, I'm going to select my second chart, which is my stacked column chart. All right. And like we do on Excel, we can do the same thing. That means I can put my region, I can put my sales, and I can put my segment, right? And if you notice, we get a standard chart. And you must be wondering, but then what's the big deal? I mean, I could have done this on Excel as well, right? Watch this. I don't really need to make a chart. All I can do is select this button called Q&A, which is for question and answer. And what does it do? It opens a box and it says, ask a question about your data. So I can literally ask the question that I wanted. So remember in Excel, we asked, we said, who are our top 10 customers in the central region in the consumer segment? I can do the same thing. I can say, show me my top 10 customer name in central region in consumer segment, right? And let me also come back here and make sure I'm saying, show me top 10 customer name by my sale value, right? So I hope all of you can see this. Adrian, Becky, Sanjeev, and the last three are Rob, Bill, and Cassandra. Adrian, Becky, Sanjeev, Rob, Bill, and Cassandra. Amazing, right? Like this is so easy because this means that as a user, I can ask a question in natural language. That's why we call this NLG, which is natural language generation. And if you notice, I'm not asking the query in a technical manner. If any of you have worked on SQL, you would know that you have to write a structured query. The beauty here is that I don't have to write any structured query. I can write however I want to write. Like I've written, show me my top. I can also say, who are. So the system has the capability of parsing your natural language into something that the system can understand. So you don't have to follow any strict guidelines. There are some very broad guidelines that you have to follow, but you don't have to follow any strict guidelines. But let me show what more you can do with it. Okay, just keep on watching. This is my chart, everyone. I will just convert this question and answer into a proper chart, which is this. Again, you must be wondering, okay, it's a chart and we saved some time. Like on Excel, we would have had to do this manually. Now I can do this automatically. Very cool, right? But is that all, or is there something more we can do? Please watch. These are my customers, correct? I'm going to make another chart, which is a pie chart. And in the pie chart, I'm going to put my sales and my region. Simple enough. Now, here's the best part of working on Power BI. You don't have to connect multiple charts with each other. For example, when you work on Tableau, you have to manually connect two charts with each other, which is called an action, right? When you create a dashboard or a story. In Power BI, they're automatically connected. And how do I prove it to you? Please watch. When I click on any region, you would notice that it is automatically filtering my customer name. But remember, my customer name is only showing me for central region because all the others are blank. And why is that? If I open up the filter pane, right, you would notice that it is only selecting the central region. So if I remove this, now you would notice that these are your top 10 customers for the entire business. And now I can click on any one to see who are the top 10 for that particular region, right? Very cool. How does AI come into the picture? Now, AI comes into the picture when I right click and I say summarize. Now see what will happen. in a single click, it is going to create an entire report for me. How cool is that? Watch this. It is telling me that, everybody, it is telling me that at 14,460, Adrian had the highest sales and was 160% higher than Alex, who had the lowest sale at 5,556. Adrian accounted for 15.60% of sales. This is not just describing your data from a very high level. You know, it's not just telling you this is the highest and this is the lowest. It is actually giving you a lot of other insights. For example, it is comparing your minimum and your maximum, which is the range that it is looking at. And it's not just telling you 14,000 and 5,000. It is actually telling you what is the multiple. So it is telling us that it is basically, if you look at this number, 5,000, and if you look at this number, 14,000, it basically is 1.6 times, right? Or rather 160% higher means 2.6 times the value of the last one, right? And if I want to add anything more, okay, just watch this. If I want to add anything more, I can do that also. I'll do this right in front of you. I'll say average for the entire business is, so I'm going to write a statement, average for the entire business is, and where is the number? Now, obviously I'm not going to calculate it manually. So I'll just click on value and I will now say, what is the average sale? That's it, okay? It will give me 229.27. I will click on save and it will basically give me 229.27. Very cool. But here's the best part. This is 229. Watch this. When I click on any region, you would notice that. Just a second. Okay. I'm not sure why it's not working for a couple of the regions. Oh, because maybe the top 10 customers are not belonging to those regions, but nevertheless, you can get the idea. Right? What I'll do is I'll just remove my top 10 and I'll keep something else, right? So I'll keep my subcategory. Right? I hope that should be okay. So I'm going to remove my customer name and I'll keep my subcategory. And as you can see, let me click on summarize once again. So right click and summarize. So it is now giving me a summary of the product categories and I can click on any one. And as you can see, we get different numbers every time. So Central is 17%, East is 17.03, then we have 13.92 and we have 13.78, right? And you can keep on adding as many levels as you want, as many different visualizations as you want. So I'll just give you one more example and then you can ask your questions. Let me ask another query. By the way, you can just double click anywhere to ask a question, right? So to open this box, you can just double click on the dashboard whenever you want. So let me say, show me state by sale as a map, right? So if you now basically make a map for you, right? And very cool. So if you notice, it is making a map and obviously everything is connected. So when I click on any region, you would notice that it zooms into that specific region and the results are changing as well, right? For example, if I click on only North Carolina, you would notice that, do you see this? The numbers are again changing, right? And same thing, if I click on California or I click on New York, you notice the numbers are again changing. Right? Great, so we will take a quick 2-minute pause here and before I continue with other visualizations. I hope all of you now have, even if you haven't worked on it earlier, you're getting comfortable with it. You know how the interface looks like and how simple it is to start working with Power BI. It's an ocean. It's a very detailed tool. You can keep on doing as many things as you want, but this is how you work on it. Right. Great. So questions, anyone, anything you would like to ask? There are no silly questions, okay? So if there's something on your mind, however silly and however small that query is, it's best to ask, right? Power BI certification, all right. So Microsoft only has one examination for Power BI, which is called DA100, all right? And if you look at this, It's called DA100. The exam is 2.5 hours. You can, it is proctored online, so you can go it from your home. And it costs 5,600 rupees for every attempt. 700 is a passing mark out of 1,000, so 70%. And even if you have 690, then you don't clear the examination. This is a very, very advanced exam. So I would really recommend you to give this only after spending 1.5 years at least, not working on Power BI, but actually doing projects in Power BI. Simply doing academic projects and live projects is not enough, right? I've been, remember, working on Excel for 20 years now. And I mean, I cleared my certification a couple of months back, and it's really difficult, right? So you can do it. You can do other certifications, smaller ones, practice, but don't do DA100 till you're very confident, right? How does Power BI help in market research industry? Shubham, I can't really give an answer for every specific industry or sector because Power BI is used everywhere. But I mean, you think about it. If you're handling any survey data, don't you think it would be so much easier to do Power BI data transformations and visualization? You can get different types of charts in a single click, right? Um, every industry has some use case for Power BI. Can Power BI help us in making dynamic financial models? No. Financial models can only, they should, and they can be only made on Excel. A model is a model, right? A model is not created on SAP. A model is not created on Python or on R. They can be a specific instance of a model that can be done on Python. For example, for algorithmic trading or for web scraping, right? Or for, I don't know, doing some machine learning. But if you really look at a financial model where you have M&A, hedge fund, stock market, financial planning analysis, financial models are always created on Excel. They always were and they always will be. Because financial models need a lot of flexibility. Multiple users are working on it, and you can't really have any other tool capable of doing that. I have been working as a trainer for PwC and EY for 2.5 years now. I've conducted over 200 classroom trainings for them for all sorts of fields: government research, forensics, advisory, indirect tax. And I can tell you from first-hand experience, financial models can only and should only be made on Excel. So I hope that answers the question. Can I name some other small certifications that I talked about? So I have one. I mean, I have a 5-hour course on Power BI, which is, I would say, on a level 1 to 10. It is maybe a level 1 to level 4, level 5. So it's not a beginner course, okay? It is also an advanced course, but obviously it can't cover everything in Power BI. No one course can do that. I'll share the details with you later. I'll just send you an email and I'll share the details with you, right? So some demo lectures are available on YouTube in case you want to have a look. I'll just quickly share that link with you, and then we can proceed with the rest of the lecture. Believe me, we just got started and there's just so much more that I want to cover. Okay, let me make another page. And somebody mentioned finance, right? So a very common financial question, everyone, is what is the month over month change, correct? You want to find out month over month whether there is a growth or a degrowth. So I'm going to make a column chart. And in my column chart, we will keep our order date and our sales amount. As all of you can see, we get a simple chart here. We have 13, 14, 15, and 16, and we have the sales here as well. Right? So 4.8 lakhs, 4.7, 6.1, 7.3. So before I come to the visualization, let me answer that question. You find Power BI a little bit slow while uploading data. Is there a way we can upload the file first? Power BI can never be slow because of the software. Power BI is a super fast software. I have loaded data sets with 5 crore rows in it, and Power BI has taken only 30 seconds to load the data. If Power BI is slow for you, maybe just see if you're working on a 64-bit system and try to work on a different laptop, because Power BI can never be slow. I mean, unless you are loading data directly from a direct query or from a database. I'm not sure how you're loading the data, but if it is an Excel file or if it's a CSV file or a JSON file, there should be no reason for it to be slow. I mean, I can, let me just give you an example, okay? Everybody watch this. I'll click on get data and I'll select a CSV file, all right? And let me go to my folder. This is a very large data set. It's a 15-day data set for GSK. All of you know GlaxoSmithKline, right? And I had done a training for them sometime back. And I hope all of you are able to see the size of this file. Do you see this? It's a 286 MB Excel file. Just let that sink in for a moment. It's a 286 MB. That means 4 files like this would actually be 1 GB of Excel, right? I'm sure all of you would agree that this is a huge file which has hundreds of columns in it, and it has about 8.5 lakh records in it. I want to show you how fast it is. I select the file, I click on open, and just watch. That's it. It's giving you a preview. You click on load. So 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, 4 second. You can do the counting yourself, but you will get an idea. So at most, it takes about 1 second for every 25 MB. So even if it's a 250 MB file, at most you're looking at 10 to 15 seconds to load the entire data set. Right? That's it. The data has been loaded, right? And we're actually working with 8.5 lakh records from GSK right now. Right? So I'm happy you asked that question because I got the opportunity of showing this to everybody. But Power BI is super fast, everyone. And the reason it is very fast is because it works with something called a Vertipack, right? It's beyond the scope of today's workshop, but Vertipack basically is a different algorithm. It's an engine that Microsoft has created. And Vertipack is also called the X Velocity in-memory tabular engine, right? You don't really need to learn all this in detail, but at least have some level of idea, because if you're working as a data analyst, then you need to know these things. How can you create a good model? How can you create an efficient model if you don't know all these things, right? So don't think that this is something the IT team has to figure out. Of course, the IT team has to know this, but as a data analyst, you also need to work on all this, right? So I've given you the two terms, X velocity and Vertipack, right? Shubham, I'll answer that question. I will answer that question. I'll answer it in the last 5 minutes, right? When I open up the forum for question and answer. I just want to show everybody how you can do a lot of interactivity within Power BI. So if you notice, we have a chart here, very simple, 30, 14, 15, 16, and we have the sales value. If you notice at the top, we have different arrows here. So if I click on the first arrow, which is, or rather the second one, which is the drill down, what will happen when I click on 16, it will actually show me the 4 quarters within 16. So do you see this? Quarter 4 of 16, quarter 3, quarter 2, quarter 1, quarter 4. These are the 3 months, November. Now, what is this showing me? This is basically showing me that the sales for the month of the 17th of November, which is in quarter 4, calendar year of 2016, was 13,685. This is what you call aggregation and granularity. What does that mean? This is what you call an aggregated data, because you're looking at the year right now. And every time you keep on going down, you're basically looking at a granular data. Like if I had the data for my time, what time of the day the transaction happened, that could have a further level of granularity, right? Let me give you another perspective. If I put my region, and below my region, I'm keeping my category. Below that, I'm keeping my subcategory. And below that, we are keeping our shipping boat. Now, this is also a granular data. What does that mean? Right now, I'm looking at the first level, which is my region. If I click on the down arrow and I click on South, what will it do? I hope all of you can guess this. It will show me the 3 categories only for the South region. When I click on technology, it will show me the subcategories. And when I click on phones, it will show me that standard class, which is standard class shipping for the phones category of subcategory in the technology category in the South region is 34,433. And this becomes aggregated data, right? I hope that makes sense, everyone. But coming back to our question, this is great, but what do you do if you want to see all the quarters together? So I can click on the expand button and it will show me all the quarters, similarly all the months like this, right? Very cool. But when you're looking at all the month, the chart doesn't look good because it's a very large chart, correct? So now I can make a slicer And in the slicer, we'll keep our order date. And if you notice, we'll get a very nice slicer, or rather a slider like this. Let me just put a shadow and a border here so that you can see this clearly, everyone. So if you notice, these are talking to each other. We call this a handshake. So when I move the slider, do you see what is happening? My chart is automatically changing. Very cool, right? Like I can just select a specific date, let's say from the 1st of December till the 30th of October. And if you show me the data, only for that 11-month period like this. All of this is great, but where is the month over month change? Now this topic, I'm going to cover using DAX, how to write formulas within Power BI on day number 3 on the 2nd of October. But today I'm going to show you how even without using formulas, you can create these interesting and important calculations, right? So let's do it again, right? I'll do it from the beginning. I will make a waterfall chart, everyone, this one. And in the waterfall chart, look very, very carefully, okay? If you blink, then you will miss. In the waterfall chart, I have category. I'm going to keep my year in the category. And then I'm going to keep my sales in the value. Now you must be wondering, what's the big deal? This is just showing you 4.8 lakh, 4.6, 6.06 and 2.29, correct? Here is where it is interesting. There is an option called breakdown. You don't get this on Excel, by the way. Excel does have a waterfall, but it doesn't have a breakdown in it. So I'm going to keep my quarter in my breakdown, right? And do you notice what is happening now? It is telling me, please watch carefully, that quarter 4 in 2013 and 2015 was 179,000, 181,000. What was the change? 2,600. What was the change as a delta percentage? It was 1.47. Which quarter had a decline? Quarter 3, which is a degrowth of 9.34. Now the calculation is simple enough. It is nothing but current quarter minus previous quarter divided by the previous quarter, correct? But where is the calculation? Where have I done that calculation? I haven't. That's the beauty of it. All of this is happening automatically on the fly. So if you notice, it is telling me that quarter 4 grew by 29%, quarter 2 grew by 51%, so on and so forth. If I remove my quarter and I keep my region, now it will tell me which regions have grown. For example, South and West had a degrowth in the first year of business, and these years had a growth. Very cool, right? This is not the only way of doing it. I can also make a ribbon chart, this one. A ribbon chart is very, very similar. What does it do? Let me keep my quarter once again. Right? And I'm just going to make the chart look a little more beautiful. So I'm just going to put my data label, and then in the ribbon, I just make a little bit of spacing and add a border. Excellent. So everyone, let's see what is happening. What is this? 1.79 lakhs. Let's put it in 100,000. So 179,000, 181,000. There is a change. If you click on this ribbon, you will notice that the change is 1.47%. The exact same thing that we did earlier using a waterfall chart, you can do using a ribbon chart as well. And that's the beauty of working with Power BI. There are so many different ways of working with it. And remember everyone, this is all interactive. So if I make a region slicer, I can click on any region to see how for every different region, for all the different regions, the numbers are changing as well, right? Very cool. Okay. Let me now show you some custom visualizations. In addition to the charts that are already available on Power BI, which are these, you can also import your own charts. And this is how you do it. I don't know why I have signed out, so you'll have to give me a moment to quickly sign in. And remember everyone, everything that I've shown you till now will work 100% with the free version of Power BI. The one that you can download, Power BI Desktop, will have every single feature. Even though I have a paid account, nothing I've shown you is a part of the paid account. Everything is available to the free account as well. Okay. So like I said, this is like a store. So like you download an iOS or an Android application. If you want to download more visualizations, you can do that. So I'll download I click on the three dots and I download something called a drill down donut chart. Okay, please watch this. Let me click on this once again. All right, so we have a drill down donut chart. We have the advanced donut visual. This is amazing. Now, the problem with the pie chart is that it is great when you have one level with maybe 5, 10 items in it, correct? For example, just watch this. I'm not sure why Power BI has stopped responding. Let me just wait for a moment. Okay. All right. So when I make a pie chart, everyone, the problem is that if I only want to show my sales and my segment, I'm sure all of you would agree with me that it looks great. There's nothing wrong with it. The moment I add one more level, if I add my category, and if I click on expand, you notice now it becomes a little cluttered because you have too many colors now. And if I put my subcategory here, then this becomes idiotic because nobody's going to present the data like this. Now you can keep the subcategory in detail, and I would say it looks a little better than earlier, but this is like, this is like a children's toy. I don't think this is how you will professionally present a Power BI report to the management, correct? I'm going to convert this into a drill down donut chart, the one that I just downloaded. And what will happen? You will notice that it's very similar to a pie chart. You get the three segments, but here's the best part. This is dynamic. What that means is that consumer segment is 1.15 million. If I want to see the categories within consumer, I can actually click on this and it will show me the three categories. If I want to see all the subcategories within technology, I can click and I can see the subcategories. How cool is that, right? Like these sort of things, if you had to do it earlier before Power BI, you would have had to, work on things like D3JS, which is data-driven documents, or some other platform, maybe do some programming on Python. But the interactivity that you're getting here is absolutely fabulous, right? It's so simple. You just keep three levels, keep the sales value, and that's it. You're able to create your visualization like this. Right? And like this, there are over 200 different visualizations available on the App Store. So if you notice, I have so many different ones, okay? And there's really something for everybody. Like if you want to do forecasting, you can just type forecasting and it will give you different forecasting tools. So you have Arima, you have exponential smoothing, you have neural networks. The best part is that even if the chart is not a part of Power BI, you can always download it. And these are free. Some of them are paid, like this one is paid, but 90% of them are free of cost. You don't have to pay anything for this. Right? Like the one that I just shown you, this is completely free of cost. Right? Okay, let me show you one more example and then you can ask your questions. So far, I've shown you how you can have a chart which is interactive and looks spectacular, but it's still a chart, right? How do I show a chart on top of another chart? It would be better explained if I show it to you rather than speaking about it, right? Watch carefully, all right? I want to make a table, very simple, nothing special. This is a table. And in the table, I will keep my subcategory in rows. I will keep my region in columns and I'll keep my sales value in values. This is just like a pivot table, right? What you would do on a pivot table as well. Here's my question. How do you see the trend? If I want to see what is the trend for this 33,000, that means, have I been selling the same amount every month and every quarter? Is there a lot of seasonality or is it a flat growth? How do I do that? Now, one option is I can make a trend line with my order date and my sales value. And how do I see this? Everybody. So when I look at my month, if I want to see the trend, I can click on every one of these cells and I can see the trend line. Is this helpful? Of course it is, right? Because at one glance, you can see the trend of that particular combination. But don't you think it's too difficult? I mean, Obviously, a user is not going to click on every one of these. That's not a very good user experience. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another page. And on this page in the format, I will change the page type to a tooltip, right? And this chart, I'm going to cut and put it here, right? And we just make this a little smaller as well because we don't need to show such a large chart. Okay. And I don't need a few things here. For example, I don't need to show the title. I don't need to show my y-axis. I also don't need to show my title because see, the idea here is I just want to show I just want to give an idea to the user. I don't need to show the exact numbers. I just want to give an idea that has it been growing? Is there a seasonality factor or not? As you can see, there is clearly a seasonality factor, correct? Let me put a border and a shadow here. But let me do something else. This is the trend line. I'm just going to make another chart. So I just copy and paste this. And below that, I'm going to remove the sales and keep the profit here. Make sense, everybody? Now watch. I can go back to my table and I can connect my tooltip to page number 5. And what's going to happen? Something very cool. When the user will hover the mouse over any one of these numbers, for example, if I take it over this 166,000, you see what is happening? You can get a preview of the profit and the sales seasonality. And you see how it is changing for every single subcategory. And this is what a high level overview is, right? We don't want to make a report. A user is not interested in seeing every single number for every single month. You just want to get an idea. Like if you look at this one, very clearly you can see that there is very little correlation between sales and profit. I'm sure all of you would agree with me. Even when the sales is increasing, you notice that the profit is actually not increasing. In fact, in one of the particular month, I don't know which one, I don't care which month, you would notice that even though the sales increased substantially, the profit actually had an inverse relationship and I incurred a loss. Whatever the reason for that is, I'm not concerned about that, right? So this is how you can basically make this interactive charts that can all talk to each other. This concept is called a tooltip. A tooltip is not unique to Power BI. It is available on every platform. It's there on Python, it's there on R, it's there on, actually, I'm not sure it's there in R or not, I'm sure it is. It is there on Tableau, it is there on Qlik. Tooltip is not a term that is there for Power BI. It's a generic term. Tooltip basically means that you're showing some additional details about a chart when a user takes the mouse over that particular area, right? Great. If you want to see more examples, you can just go to my website, everybody. And as you can see, I have about 6-7 dashboards that I've created. This is all with sample data. I obviously can't show you my client projects, but here you will get a very good idea. And these are all complete dashboards, very detailed. You will get a very good idea of what all is possible using Power BI. So if you notice, I have sales, marketing, HR, finance, some other things as well. So let me just load first. And it's taking a little bit of time to load. So let me open it on my Power BI service. Maybe this will be a little faster. Is it working now? It's still not working. No problem. All of you can see this. So like this is a you can ask your questions in the meantime. I think it's taking a little bit of time to load. Let me try once again. Forecasting, sure. I have that example, but the file will have to open first. Otherwise, what I'll do is I'll open the raw file and show it to you. Let's just wait for 10 more seconds. If it doesn't work, then I'll think of something else. Just a moment. Oh, this is taking too much time. No problem. I'll just show you two in the folder directly. So, consulting, all. Superstore. See, what I'm going to show you right now is very simple. It's just exponential smoothing. Power BI is not a statistical tool. Please remember that. If you want to create some more advanced forecasting models, you remember have both R and Python integration. So if you notice, like it's a simple forecast. It's exponential smoothing. I can click on any segment and I can see the forecast for that particular segment. Right? I can see the error margins as well, right? The upper and the lower bound. And obviously I can look at any period and see how the forecast is changing. But like I said, the default within Power BI is just your basic exponential smoothing. So you don't get a lot of options here. If you want to do something more, you can always look at Python and R. Both of them are integrated within Power BI, right? Anyway, it's not opening, but nevertheless, I'll share the link with you. You guys can have a look later. Right. So Power BI has a good question. So Power BI has an automation model, which is called Power Query, which is, I'll show you how it looks like. So everyone, this is what Power Query looks like. It uses a different language called M code, just the letter M, which is like this. Right? So Power Query is available on both Excel and on Power BI. Is the exact same thing, which is available on Excel and Power BI. And basically, this is how it looks. This is the interface. Just a moment. This is the interface. And you can basically run your tasks here. So on the right side, you have applied steps. So every step that you're writing here is a little bit like a macro, which means that it remembers all the steps and you're able to repeat them again. Right? Good. Any other questions? Will I be covering the R and Python integration during this workshop? There's nothing to cover, Rahul. I mean, you just click on the Python button and just write your code. That's how simple it is, right? But see, there are a lot of limitations. So we don't usually do a lot of R in Python. Usually, I'll tell you what we do. For example, let me download a visualization and let me look at forecasting, right? Sorry. Just read this carefully. We are using the time series model. And do you see what it is saying? It is saying that the R package dependencies, which will be auto installed. If you have R installed on your system and R is connected to Power BI, the R sort of the directory where R is saved, let me add it. Let me show it to you. So let me click on my, so do you notice when I click on this visual, it says it contains script visuals, which means Python or R, and I will enable it. And now what will happen is I can simply put my order date and my sales value, and you will notice that this will take a little bit of time because, anyway, don't worry about the fact that it's a straight line. We'll have to make some changes before that works. But the basic idea is look at the number of options you have here, right? You have different forecasting settings, you have confidence intervals, you have graphical parameters, right? There's a lot that you can change. And you can do all of this without any coding. If you want to do the coding, that is also possible. You can just click on R and do the coding directly. But if you don't want to do any coding, then these inbuilt visualizations are also available. Right? And you can just Google it. I mean, on the official Microsoft documentation, they've explained these things very well. Remember, there will be some differences. For example, one big limitation is that when you work on Python or R on Power BI, you have a limit of 150,000 rows, 1.5 lakhs. If your data set has more than 1.5 lakh rows, it will not analyze the other values. It has a limitation of 1.5 lakh, which in itself is a very big limitation. That's why a lot of people don't end up using it. See, it's there. The integration is there in Power BI, but don't be too excited about it. Power BI is for a different audience. Power BI is not a data science tool. It's a business intelligence tool. Power BI is meant for a high-level overview. So when you're looking at, the CXO level or what the leadership of a company wants to see, this is not typically what a data scientist would be working on. If you're working on data science like me, then you would work on all these tools at the same time. Like I work on R, I work on Python, I work on Power BI, I work on Tableau. Right? Every tool has their own sets of advantages and disadvantages, right? But Power BI is not meant to replace Python and R. For example, just like Python can do data visualization, can you compare it to Power BI? Of course not. Power BI is so much simpler compared to Python, correct? But at the same time, can I do visualization on Python? Sure. Similarly, can I do certain things on Power BI which are meant for Python? Yes. Can I do web scraping on Power BI? Yes. But should I? Why should I? I mean, it's not the right tool for it. Great. So I hope in the last 40, 45 minutes, you guys have at least a little bit of idea, especially if you haven't worked on it earlier, as to what it is. I showed you the Q&A. I showed you how the summarize function can automatically create a report, how different charts interact, how you can use the filter pane, how you can have a tooltip so that another chart comes on top of a single chart, how you can import more visuals from the marketplace, right, and make interactive visuals, right? The next 2 days, I'll be covering, of course, certain topics in more detail. I'll tell you how to combine multiple files, how to clean data. I will tell you how to write formulas within Power BI. For example, you have these very nice formulas. For example, sales from new customers. So I can just put in 10 seconds, I can write these amazing formulas like this, right? Which is telling me what is the sales from a new quarter. But I'm not going to talk about all this right now. This is something which is called DAX, right? So let me just open my browser. Right, everyone, this is called DAX. So DAX is an expression language which works on SQL, Microsoft Azure, Power BI, and on Excel, right? So Bhavesh, so everyone, I have a 5-hour course on Power BI, which is available on the link that I've shared with you. It's an online platform. All the examples, case studies, everything is there. If you're interested in a proper training program, I'm doing a session with IIT Bombay on the 20. Sorry about that. I think I got disconnected. Let me just show it to you once again. So everyone, I'm doing a session with IIT Bombay on the 31st of October and the 1st of November. Let me just show you how that looks like. So it's basically a very, very comprehensive 12-hour session on Excel and Power BI. This is advanced Excel. So if you look at the topics, this is not basic pivot tables and VLOOKUP at all. We go to more advanced topics. So 6 hours of Excel and 6 hours of Power BI. And this is a very robust course. That means that even though we can't cover everything, we at least introduce all the different topics. And it's a certificate course. That means that you will be getting a certificate uh, from both of us, from Havisham Consulting as well as from IIT Bombay. I will be sharing the details for this as well. There are limited seats because it's IIT Bombay. I hope you can understand that the seats will fill up very, very quickly. If you are interested, you can go to my YouTube channel and see if you are interested in it or not. If you have any questions, you can ask me. But if you are interested, I would recommend don't wait because the seats will fill up very fast. The early bird price is 2,000, but I'll be sharing a discount coupon with you. So it will be 1,500 if you register, I don't know, till the seats get filled, right? And online session will happen on 31st October, 1st November, and certificate will be given jointly by IIT Bombay and by me. Right? While I do some open sessions myself, I would recommend that if you really want to do a course, you should do this one because the certificate by itself will have a lot of value. Right? I'm sure I don't need to tell you that. Right? I'm doing something with Ahmedabad as well, but this is a little different. This is an MBA toolkit. This is only a 3-hour session with 1.5 hours Power BI, 1.5 hours Excel. So I don't think this is something you'll be interested in. Like you should get this only if you want the certificate from IIM Ahmedabad, because the certificate is going to be IMA. If the certificate doesn't have a lot of value for you, if you just want to learn, then you can come for the IIT Bombay one. Right? In any case, I'll share both of them with you. Does my 5-hour Power BI course cover? Hold on. Does your 5-hour Power BI course will be covered in the IIT Bombay workshop? You know what? My Power BI course is for 500 rupees. If you register for the IIT Bombay workshop, I'll just give you access to the course as well. See, obviously it's not ditto. If I tell you that, no, exactly every topic that I cover in the course is also there in the workshop, that's not true. A live training is very different to a recorded lecture, right? But if you do want to register for the IIT Bombay one, I'll give you access to the 5-hour Power BI recorded course as well. Great. Anything else? Anyone? Oh, this is loaded now, so you can have a look at it. Most welcome, Bhavish. So everybody, you can notice we have sales, HR, we have, look at this one. I really like this. It's an HR dashboard. Very simple, very elegant, but also very detailed. The timings of the IIT Bombay workshop. See, IIT Bombay is 31st and 1st November. I don't think we have decided the timing yet. See, it's 6 hours each day, Saturday and Sunday. So most likely we will start at 10 o'clock in the morning. And so 6 hours means 2 hours of break. So it will be from 10 to 6. So it's basically a full day workshop. 4 sessions each day of 1.5 hours. So 1.5 hours into 8 sessions. But there will be no recording, okay? So if you're wondering, oh, I don't want to come, but you know, can I just pay for the recording later? There'll be no recording. How will you remember everything? Like I said, I will be sharing all the material and the case studies and the courses with you. So you can always learn from that, right? But don't worry, I'll teach very well. I mean, you will not really, of course, you will have to practice a lot, but you will not be at a loss when it comes to remembering everything. You will remember everything. Excellent. Any final questions, anyone? Because I have a hard stop at 6:10. I have some other calls after this. So I'll be happy to answer anybody, any questions. So I hope you liked it, especially those of you who have not worked on Power BI earlier. It's a fantastic tool. I've spent 3 years working on it. And they keep on adding so many features every month. It's amazing. And it's very non-typical of Microsoft. You know, Microsoft has always been known to be a company which is, you know, not very nimble when it comes to updates, right? But Power BI has a monthly update. Every month they come up with new features, right? Excellent. So I hope I'll see most of you, at least, if not all of you, for the 2 sessions tomorrow and the day after, same time. No prerequisite. I think the only thing I would ask all of you to do is take out some time, download it, and at least download it and see and get comfortable with it. I'm not asking you to do anything. There's no homework as such, but at least get familiar with the interface. I think that's the first step that you can take. And the journey begins with a single step. So if you're worried, oh my God, how am I going to learn so much? All the more you should start somewhere. And I think the first step that you should take is to download it. Okay. Excellent. That would be all from my side. I will see you tomorrow at the same time at 5 o'clock. Somebody has asked me for the download link. Even though you should be able to find it online, I'll still share it with you in case you have trouble finding it. Just give me a moment. Thank you, Yamini. Thank you, Vaibhav. I just shared the download link. I'm surprised nobody asked me which one is better, Tableau or Power BI. That's a question that I always get. So I'll give you the short answer. The answer is that both of them are competitors. So it's really hard to pick one. Both of them have their own sets of specialties. It depends on the function that you're working in. Like if you're working in finance, supply chain, HR, then Power BI is more important for you. If you're working in marketing and sales and things like digital marketing, media, then Tableau is much better for you. This is the link. I'll just put the link here. When you download it, it will ask you to sign in. You don't need to sign in, right? We just cancel that button. Thank you, Prachi. Excellent, guys. So I'll have to excuse myself, and I hope to see all of you tomorrow at the same time at 5 o'clock.